Hey, what's up, witches and wizards out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and thank you for joining me on this journey as I catch up with the Owl House. I've made it to the penultimate episode, the episode before the final. Well, the finale of season 1, I should say. Episode 18, titled Agony of a Witch. And it is heartbreaking. It is devastating. Enough talk, let's get into it. As we pick up at the Emperor's castle, where we see various witches and wizards all being hauled in by the Emperor's coven, only for the crime of not wanting to conform and join a coven. What a tragedy. As Kikimore, who I'm just gonna call Kiki from now on because Lilith does. Just Kiki. It's nice. Like Kiki's delivery service. But she's not as nice as that Kiki. Who informs Lilith it's been about a month since she gave her that ultimatum of capturing Ida, and Lilith has yet to actually follow through on that. So she has one more shot. Lilith says that she will do what she has to in order to finally capture her sister. But Kiki doesn't quite believe it. But Lilith assures her that with this platoon of people and having finally located her sister's home, she will not fail. So as we see a sleeping Hootie, I was going to say hooting sleepy, but dang. She sends in the Emperor's coven to surround the place, only for Hootie to show that his annoying aspects are actually by design, as he manages to completely overwhelm the Emperor's coven as well as Lilith. Like, this guy is unstoppable, all while Ida's inside drinking tea. We also get to see that Ida has this magic wool-like substance that she plans on weaving into a cloak for added protection against the Emperor's coven, which Luz actually takes a little bit of an interest in. However, we soon find that Ida's curse is worsening and has even just started getting to a point where it just rapidly comes on out of nowhere. And as Ida transforms, we see her back in her dream-like moment, where she sees the moment where she was cursed in her bedroom. But she tries once again to find out who the person who cursed her is. But she wakes up, seeing that she has consumed a lot more elixirs than usual, with Luz kind of catching on, especially as the gem, which seems to, I guess, represent the on progression of her curse, isn't completely back to normal, showing that the elixirs are having less of an effect. Something we already knew, but this is the first time Luz and King are made privy to the situation. But Ida tries her best to assure Luz that she has this under control. How she has this under control, she doesn't say, but she makes it seem like it's something that Luz doesn't need to worry about. Newsflash, Luz worries about it. Worries about it? Worries about it. Yes, let's go with that. And Ida sends Luz off to school, and Lilith ends up getting told to return to the Emperor's castle. He would like to have a word with her. Speaking of arriving at the Emperor's castle, we find out that a few students from Hexside will actually be going to the Emperor's castle for a field trip, with one of the stops on the tour being the Relic Room, which contains various different objects of magical power that belong to various different covens, and one that catches Luz's eye is the Healing Hat, which is able to apparently cure curses, which Luz immediately is all too ready to steal that shit. She solely wants to. But As they make their way there, Willow fills Luz in on some information about the Emperor, stating that while Ida might claim to be the most powerful witch on the Boiling Isle, she says that she's nothing compared to the power of Emperor Bellows. We also get to see that Amity actually still is recovering from the injury she received back in the last episode. So that explains why Luz is able to do some of the stuff she does without anyone slapping her hand and telling her no. But they arrive at the castle with Kiki acting as tour guide, giving some information on the history of the Boiling Isles. That 50 years ago, witches used magic wildly, only for Emperor Bellos to come into the picture and subjugate, because, they make it sound like, oh, he gave the Boiling Isles order. No, he subjugated and segregated the people. That's what this dude did. But Luz tries a few attempts at, making her way to the relic room, but to no avail, as they honestly just end up walking in there regardless. With Luz seeing the hat, but not really having the opportunity to take it. We then see Lilith arrive at the castle, reporting to Emperor Bellows, as Luz follows her and peeks in at the meeting, where we get to see this heart beating at the center of Emperor Bellows' throne room, which makes me wonder, is that the heart of the Titan that they live on? No, it looks a little smaller than it probably should be, but what is this thing? And what is it pumping? What is it producing? And is it possible that this is the source of all magic on the Boiling Isle? That the subjugation that Emperor Bellows has done to the witches of this land is to make it so that all power is under his control? It's just a theory, at least. We also see that Emperor Bellows has some kind of health problem, something that can only be satiated with cracking open and ingesting the essence of talismans through his eyes? Is that what I'm seeing here? Because honestly, it makes no sense to me how this is helping him in any way. Is it keeping him young? Helping him to maintain his youth? How? Why? Who is Emperor Bellows? And why did he arrive at the Boiling Isles 50 years ago? And where did he arrive from? I'm assuming the human realm. I think he's human, but there's no way to be certain about that. As Luz is aghast at the sight of what she had just seen. But Emperor Bellos delivers an ultimatum to Lilith that as long as she manages to capture her sister and bring her to him by sundown, he will cure her sister and allow her sister to go about, living for the most part. Should Lilith fail, she will be stripped of her rank and title and banished from the Emperor's coven and subjugated to the horrible implications of being a covenless witch. Like that moment where he tells her that she will be covenless is accompanied by some auditory visuals that, ooh, man, that paints a very grim picture, I will be honest. So as Ida is, weaving the cloak for Luz that she wants to give to her after, all the progress that Luz has made over the course of has it been like 2 months? A month and a half, I think? Not sure. But it hasn't been too long, but she has started to grow attached to Luz. And, both she and King have really grown to care for her. Meanwhile, as the kids go to leave back from their school trip, Luz hopes that they won't notice, only to notice that there's a copy of her hanging out with Gus and Willow, only for it to be revealed that Gus and Willow had actually seen Luz's notes on her plan to get the healing hat, and they're in an effort to try to help Edith. So they aptly make their way through the castle, arriving at the relic room, managing to retrieve the healing hat, with Gus taking the what was it called? The Oracle Sphere, which, boosts his illusion powers, and the Green Thumb Gauntlet, which is able to boost Willow's plant based magic. Items that I kind of would have loved to have seen them keep, all things considered. But something or someone manages to spot them, and I think it's Emperor Bellows. It's surreal and really kind of disturbing as they end up locked in the relic room, with Willow using the green thumb gauntlet in order to free them, only to be met by Lilith, who was trying to think of the perfect way to trap Edith, but with the protege of her sister, that would be very useful to her. So she manages to best both Gus and Willow, who didn't even stand a chance, and in the struggle she even ends up destroying the healing hat, much to Luz's dismay. But Lilith lets her know that a relic like that wouldn't have had enough power to do the job anyway. Say, and she sends her staff off with Gus and Willow to deliver Edith a message. And as Ida manages to finish the cloak, Gus and Willow arrive with Lilith's staff in order to pass along the message that Luz has been taken. So as sundown arrives and the Emperor overlooks the proceedings, Ida arrives in spectacular fashion. She is not playing around this time, and she immediately goes on the offensive against her sister, who no, actually tries to use Luz as a bargaining chip, trying to convince her sister, her younger sister, to join the Emperor's coven. But Ida is having none of it. Not wishing to be controlled or put in a corner or tamed, not willing to give up her principles like she feels that her sister did. While she might be wild, that just means she's had to struggle more to contain her awesome power. And as we get a fight that is just so well choreographed and gets on some DBZ levels of intensity, we even get to see some awesome choreography as Lilith tries to use Luz to distract Ida so that she has to protect her protege as well as try to take Lilith down. Easier said than done. But Ida is appalled by her sister's actions, feeling that ultimately her sister has to resort to dirty tactics, much like Ida would usually pull in order to get one over on her little sister. And as Luz does manage to free herself from the trappings of Lilith, Lilith ends up confessing that yes, her sister might be stronger than her, but that just means she had to work harder, get more skilled, be better. And if Edith was as powerful as she said she was, why wasn't she able to fight off the curse that Lilith gave her? And it becomes very clear that this was an act of jealousy. She was jealous of the power, the natural talent that Ida had, and the fact that Ida never seemed to try that hard in order to have this power, whereas Lilith tried her ass off. And it's obvious that she regrets what happened. She didn't mean for any of this to happen the way that it did, but Ida is having none of it. And Lilith continues to use Luz in order to try to run down Ada's time, to advance the power of the curse. As long as Ada doesn't use too much of her power, the curse is at bay. But she tries to force this upon her sister, attempting to basically kill Luz, impale her on the spikes under the bridge, and Ida does her best to keep Luz safe. And as the curse overtakes her, she begs Luz to look after King and Hootie and tells Luz that she's so glad that they met and how much Luz truly means to her. And in one last flash of power, she's able to send Albert over to get Luz, but it's too late. Ida has fully transformed. And both Ida and Albert end up being captured by Lilith, who tells Luz to go home, that this is not her world, that she does not belong here. And so, with no other choice, Luz returns to the Owl House. And as King shows off the surprise that they had wanted to give to Luz, she breaks down. What a somber ending. I will not lie, I teared up something fierce at this ending. What a sad, sad moment. I've never seen Luz cry. Anything aside from, kind of happy tears or sappy, sad tears, but this, this hurt me. This hurt me in bad ways. And while it's obvious that Lilith is trying to make amends for what she did to her sister, it's hard to forgive Lilith for what she did in this moment. It was too much. And to add on to the somber moment, the ending theme is foregone in an option to just have the sounds of the gears turning in the Emperor's castle. To just have this somber moment where nothing happens. It's sad because usually Luz could always return to Ida at the end of the day. But this time, Ida is somewhere cold and lonely. Oh man, I'm so glad I watched this series. It has been so great, but it'll be sad to see it go, at least for now. As I make my way to the last episode, and I play the waiting game, hoping to see season 2 announced sometime soon. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think about the battle between Edith and Lilith? What did you think of that fight? What did you think about Lilith's tactics? What did you think about Edith's power? And how did you feel about the whole situation? Do you sympathize with Lilith, or were you raging against her throughout this entire fight? Tell me your thoughts and feelings in the comments section below, and if you liked this video, leave me a like or a dislike depending on how you feel. I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.